Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, welcome to this webinar on behalf of the TEFLorg. My name is Carl. I'm here every Friday afternoon on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn as well, where I do a live question and answer session on different aspects of teaching English as a foreign language. And today's topic is TEFL as a career change. If maybe you've been working in a job for a number of years and you feel like you fancy a change and you want to get into something else, then TEFL could be the thing that you get into. This is a live Q&A. I'm here in Northern Ireland, in Belfast, where I work as a teacher trainer, an online teacher, an examiner. I also do some face-to-face teaching every now and again. I've been lucky enough to work all around the world in places such as Japan, Vietnam, China, Sri Lanka, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Spain and Italy as well. Big chunk of that just before COVID. I've also worked a lot in the UK. And I'm here to answer any questions. So I can see that there's people in from all over the world, which is lovely. Hello, Sarah in Cumbria, Lisa in Canada, Carlos, great name, in Louisville, Tracy in Murphy, somewhere in the USA, Haley in Spain. I can't keep up with all of them. Please say hello in the chat. Please let everyone know where you are in the world, because it can be quite useful to know where people are from. Maybe you can get a little chat. Who knows? Maybe you'll find a new best friend out of it. Right, so the topic of today's webinar is TEFL as a career change. I'm going to do a presentation about that. If you've got any questions with anything that I say, please do put them in the chat, and I will get to them either live as I read them, or I might wait till the end of the little PowerPoint presentation, okay? Because maybe your question will be answered. If, however, you've got a question that's got nothing at all to do with career changes, TEFL, also put that in the chat, and either I will answer it, or Alan, who is monitoring the chat, might put in a quick link or quick answer through typing it. Good, right, and all the hellos, that people are everywhere, which is fantastic. It's great to see people all over the place. Pakistan, India, loads of people from America. Julia in Germany, right, I can't keep up with them. Hello. Right, TEFL is a career change. So first thing I would say is that people TEFL for different reasons, okay? Not everyone that gets into TEFL is in it because, oh, I love teaching English. Teaching English is fantastic. That's going to be the career for me. Some people do. Fantastic, amazing. But a lot of people, you know, they sort of think they sort of say in interviews that they're in TEFL because they love teaching, but actually they're sort of going abroad or they're working online for actually a different reason, okay? And some of these reasons, and I think probably the main reason is travel. When I got into this sort of 20 odd years ago, I had no urge at all to be this fantastic, amazing teacher, even though I said I did in the interviews. What I wanted to do was travel and see the world, and that was why I got into TEFL, basically. And I think that's probably true for the majority of people that go abroad and work as an English as a foreign language teacher, okay? So if you're in a career change, you're thinking about doing a career change, and if you think, do you know what, I want to be a TEFL teacher, amazing, fantastic. But if you want to just get into it because you want to change your job and see a bit of the world, that's also okay. That is what the majority of people are into it for, and probably what the person interviewing you for a job will be. Now, I'm not saying you should say, I want to be a TEFL teacher to travel in an interview, but I think you should be aware that most people realise that you're just sort of into it to do a bit of travelling. Okay. Another reason that people get into TEFL is because they want to maybe get into teaching in their own country, and sometimes it can be cheaper to do a TEFL course than go to university and do a PGCE, or to get qualified teaching status to go work in a, let's say, American high school or an Australian primary school. So some people get into TEFL to see if they like teaching, and then after a couple of years, they might move into doing qualified teachers to go work in primary schools, senior schools, junior schools, whatever it might be, elementary schools in their own country. You can go work in those schools abroad, but that's something different. Okay. Some people also get into TEFL to go to a particular country. You know, they think, right, I want to go work in Vietnam. How can I go live and work in Vietnam wait there, I can do TEFL and I can do that in Vietnam. People do it to get into a specific country. And this could be some of the reasons why you change as a career. If you've been doing something for a long time and you want to change, get into TEFL, these could be some of the reasons to do it, right? Love is another big reason for people to TEFL. Oh, I've fallen in love with a beautiful Chinese man and I want to go live in Beijing and I will need something to do when I'm there. I'm going to be a TEFL teacher. There you go. Perfectly fine. People do that in love. Go for it. Now, there are people who want to teach English. Fantastic. It's a good job. You can make a career out of it. And that's absolutely fine. Okay? If you want to just become an English teacher, absolutely fine. That's it. You can go do that, all right? And any of these reasons are fine. Yeah? In an interview, what you maybe not say this, well, probably say something like this one. They want to teach English in the interview a bit, or maybe even an introduction to teaching. But the interviewer will know that maybe you're changing career because of these things, and that's okay. Don't worry, right? The other thing is that people start TEFL at different ages. We did a webinar last week where I talked a little bit about whether you're too old to TEFL. The conclusion is no. And you've got to watch the whole webinar for me to go into that. But people do start TEFL at different ages. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm 40, for example, or I don't know, I'll be a bit too old to change careers, I'm a TEFL teacher. Don't worry about it. People do that. And sometimes schools prefer older teachers. You know, they like teachers that are in their sort of late 30s, maybe their 40s. They can sometimes be seen as a bit more reliable. The younger ones, I know when I was in my 20s, I probably wasn't the most reliable TEFL teacher in the first destinations I went to. Sometimes schools prefer older teachers. Sometimes they can see more from their work history, see how they're going to be. They can get more references from past employers, that kind of thing. There you go. Older teachers can be more professional. They can tend to sort of spend more time doing the lesson planning. They can spend more time doing the marking, that kind of thing. And schools, establishments quite like that. On training courses, there are always a range of ages. Here in Northern Ireland, if you come do one of our weekend courses, you'll have to spend the weekend with me. I apologise if that is going to be you. But you'll spend the weekend with me and other people training to be an EFL teacher. And you will see that there is a big range of ages from people that are sort of 18. I've had 18, 19-year-olds on my course, through to people sort of in their 60s. You know, I've worked with TEFL teachers in their 70s. So don't worry thinking that you're going to be too old. Go for it, okay? And many people do TEFL as a career change, or if they're rich enough and lucky enough to have hit early retirement. So don't worry about any of all these things. If there's any of this that's putting you off doing a career change to become an EFL teacher, don't worry about it. You will not be alone there, okay? Now, if you have had a career, and obviously when I'm looking down through this list at Steve, Courtney, Damon, Julia, Marcus, Tracy, Garima, Shahab, Kay, Wahid, all of you will maybe have done different jobs. I don't think you all probably would have done the same job. That would have been quite crazy or lucky. And you all have different sort of transferable skills from your old job that fits in with EFL, okay? And you know, don't think you have no experience. Quite often I get people in my training weekends and they say, oh, I've got no experience of teaching English as a foreign language. And that might be true. You've got no teaching experience of English as a foreign language. You don't know how to teach the past perfect. You maybe don't know how to do prepositions of time. You maybe don't know how to do reading skills. But you might have some experience with generally teaching. And that is very transferable to becoming an EFL teacher, all right? And there are many work aspects you probably would have done in your previous career that are useful, okay? So don't come into an EFL course thinking I've got no experience. Think about your past jobs and what's transferable, anything that can also be seen as teaching, not EFL teaching, but generally teaching or is linked to teaching, yeah? One of the main things is training people. If you've had a job where you've spent 10, 15 years, say, working for a company or working in the same industry, you have probably within that 10 to 15 years trained somebody in how to do something, whatever it is in your industry. That is teaching. And if you can train people how to do something, if you can show them how to do something, you can probably take that skills you've learned to be patient, to be calm, how you sat about doing it, how you went about doing it, and put that into EFL. Dealing with the public is another thing. If you've got a job, if you've had a job where you've had to deal with the public, either on the phone, through email, through face-to-face in a shop, whatever it might be, you would have hopefully, not everyone, but hopefully would have got some people skills that you can use in the classroom. You can know how to deal with different types of people in this world. Talking to people of different cultures. If there's any sort of aspect of your past jobs where you have dealt with people of different cultures, this is definitely transferable. And it's a big part of EFL teaching is to be able to deal with Chinese people, to be able to deal with Vietnamese people, African people, whatever it might be. Okay, just go think about what you've done before, and I bet you it's relevant, and you would highlight it on your CV. Okay. And finally, travel. If you've been lucky enough to have had a job where you've had to travel a bit, and you can show that you can live on your own, you can work on your own, yeah, that is very transferable to EFL working abroad, yeah, because you can see that you can live in different cultures, you can survive in different cultures, you can be you can work well in a different culture. Okay. Thank you for the questions. I can see them all. I promise you I'm going to get them for a while. I'm going to get to them soon. Okay. I've only got a couple more slides to get through. Please do put them in, because the earlier you put the question in, the earlier I will answer it. Don't hide your career. So don't think, oh, I don't really want to talk, why do they want to hear about my career working in retail, or my career as a lawyer, or whatever it might be, or my career as an accountant? Don't hide your career, okay? Link your CV to the job description. Yes, you might not have had any experience teaching 9-year-olds pre-intermediate level, but be honest and say, look, this is my first EFL gig. This is my first attempt at getting an EFL job, but I believe I can do this because of this. Yeah. Show your qualifications. If you've got a degree in accounting, put it out there. If you've got a degree in French, put it out there. But, show it. Don't be afraid to only hide your qualifications, I have done webinars where I talk about application process, where I talk about CVs, that kind of thing. Go back and watch those. Yeah. Show your qualifications, get them out there. Explain why you want to teach. Why do you want to improve Thai businessmen's English? Yeah. Why do you want to help 9-year-olds in Cameroon improve their English? Yeah. Explain why you want to teach. And then see if there's something that you can say in your past that has shown this and why you want to teach. Explain why you think you could be good at it. Okay, so I did this training before. I think it went well. The people I trained moved on to do this. Yeah. Explain why you think you could be. Okay, I've lived abroad and I feel that I will be able to handle the issues that come with living in Beijing, whatever it might be. Okay. And explain what you've learned on your TEFL course. So, explain that I learned these skills. I believe that these skills are relevant for this job because of this, and I feel like I can add to this through my work as doing this, for example. Okay, don't be so don't be worried about anything like that. Your past career is relevant. Now, of course, it's not going to be, if you see a job that says we want 5 years of EFL experience, you might not have 5 years of EFL experience. But if you see jobs with less, you can maybe go for it. I would sort of go for it if you've had some experience of doing training, any sort of teaching, that kind of thing. All right. some tips. Take your time on your course. So when you're going to do the training course, when you're going to do the training course, take your time, get it all in, because what you're learning will make you a better teacher. What you're learning will help you with interviews. What you're learning will help you with applications. Some people do one of their teacher training courses that we offer here at the TEFLorg, and they rush through it just to get that certificate. I believe that if you're going into it as a career change, it's a big career change. Take your time. Do it one evening, 2 evenings a week while you're doing your current job. Take your time. Make sure you learn from it. If you're going to do a career change, don't put all your eggs in the TEFL basket. Don't think, right, I'm going to definitely 100% be a TEFL teacher, and I'm going to quit my well-paying job, and it's going to be amazing, definitely. Now, if you've got a job where you can come back to it quite easily, or you can come back into your industry, fine. How do you know if you're going to love TEFL? How do you know? You might not. You might get to China and hate it. Fine, plenty of people do. Make sure you have a way back into your past career or your past job if you can. Don't leave on bad terms with your old employer. Okay. If you're thinking about getting into TEFL, start volunteering locally. Wherever you are in the world, there will be groups near you that are crying out for volunteer teachers. If that's true, contact the local mosques, contact the local churches, see if they've got any local refugees that need teaching English. Start volunteering, start going for it, see if you like it. Yeah. It'll also build up your experience, and then you might think, do you know what? I really love being in this classroom. I'm going to start moving towards being a TEFL teacher. Give it time. You might have come from a career where it's very easy to get jobs, where it's very easy to move companies, that kind of thing. TEFL might be different. Give it time. Wait for a job that comes along that you like. Don't just necessarily jump on the first job just to get abroad. Give it time. There might be different periods of the year where the country you want to go to has hiring periods. Give it time. Don't jump into it. And finally, be prepared for different work conditions. If you've had a job for 15 years as a lawyer, TEFL is different. Also, when you go abroad, the way that companies work in terms of HR, in terms of the process might be different. In terms of the interview process might be different. Don't think because you had a good career in your industry that the TEFL industry is going to be like that. It could be different from what you're used to, and you've got to be patient with that. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. And I can see some amazing questions coming in. Let me stop sharing. There we go. Right. Sorry about that. I should have clicked on the stop share first. Right. Let me get to the first question, which I think was Manu, all the way back at 4 minutes past 4. I hope you're still with us, Manu. Does English need to be your first language? Not at all. So, you will see jobs advertised for native speakers. Manu, nothing I'll say is that I've done lots of webinars on native speakers, non-native speakers teaching. Go back and look at those, right? The first thing I would say to you is if you see a webinar, if you see a job that says native speakers only, email them and ask them what they mean by native speakers. And they might say, oh, it's someone with a high level of IELTS or a high level of Cambridge or a high level of Trinity. Yeah, fine. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that your mum and your dad spoke to you in English. It could be that you did your university English. Every company has a different sort of description of what native speaker is. The other thing is you might be applying to a country so say if you apply to a company who is based in China, the Chinese government have certain rules over who can get visas. So it might not have anything at all to do with whether you're a native speaker or not. What it could be is to do with the passport that you hold. Okay, so English does not need to be your first language, but email them and see what they say. Okay, and also watch my past webinars about non-native speaker and being a native speaker. Okay, Mia, hi. Is it possible as a Dutch citizen to teach in Japan, because you've noticed that most of them want a passport from an English-speaking country. Okay, right. So I don't know what the visa rules are for Japan for people from Holland. Yeah. So I don't know what the rules are that the Japanese government have set for people. Yeah. So it could be absolutely fine that you've got a career, you've got a Dutch passport, and that will get you a working visa in Japan. But it might not be. I don't know. You've got to Google that yourself and find out exactly what the rules are. Okay. But the fact that you're graduating from an English speaking university will probably put you in good stead in terms of actually being able to do it. Okay. So I couldn't be more helpful there, Mia. Usman, hi. You're an investment banker, lend us a tenner, and wanted to know how likely it is as a TEFL qualification will help me secure an overseas post. Hello from Canary Wharf, Usman. You're rich. Right, okay. Right, you're an investment banker and you want to... Do you still want to be an investment banker abroad, Usman? Because I don't think a TEFL qualification will make much help if you want to be an investment banker abroad. If you want to go be a TEFL teacher abroad, then yes, you've got to go do a TEFL qualification. Does that answer your question, Usman? But I don't think a TEFL qualification will help you to buy low, sell high abroad. Usman, tell me if I answered your question. Please do put that into the chat. Okay. Tracy, hi. You're an accountant. You own your own business. Years of business experience. But have never been a teacher. Will your experience give you a leg up in pursuing a business English teacher? Absolutely, 100% for sure. And if you want to get into business English, and business English can be a great thing to do online, finding your own students. It can also be a great thing to work in abroad. You will see jobs advertised specifically about business English. However, what you might also see is just companies offering general English jobs, and within that there will be a few hours of business English, and the company might not advertise the fact that they've got business English classes, but when they see your business English background, they will absolutely be more likely to take you on. So for example, I worked in Japan for a company, and I would teach 24 hours a week. Maybe 5 hours would be kids, maybe 5 hours would be adults, maybe 10 hours would be business English. Japan's a big business English country to teach in. It wasn't advertised as a business English job, but that was the main part of my job. So yes, it would definitely help if you've got any sort of business background like that. The other thing you might want to think about, Tracy, is going to work for universities as a business English teacher at universities. Something that's worth looking at. Good luck. Isaku Sise, hi. You're a qualified English teacher. How do I get online students? What I tend to do is just go along the street and just grab them as they walk past. No, I've done webinars on how to find students. Basically, you've got to have a website, you've got to have good marketing, you've got to have social media, that kind of thing, and you need to get them all on point, and you've got to get them onto your website, you've got to take their money, you've got to teach them. Could go on for hours about this. Most important thing to do is to look back at the videos that are somewhere on this page, something along the lines of how do I set myself up as an online English teacher, self-employed. That webinar will help you a lot more than what I can say in 10 seconds. Good luck. Logan, does TEFLorg have connections to international employment opportunities? Yes, such as Epic in South Korea. Yes, for sure. I know people who have gone on to teach on that program who have done TEFL weekends with me. So the EPIK, I never know how to say it. Epic, let's call it Epic. The Epic program has certain requirements, and if you fit all those requirements in terms of your age, your passport of origin, that kind of thing, then definitely a TEFL teacher will help you to get onto that, because that's basically what you're going to be doing when you go over there. Now, do we have a connection? No. We can help you. If you do one of our courses here at the TEFLorg, we will help you with the CVs and making sure that you hit all the connections, and we can help you with all that kind of thing in terms of getting the job if you've done one of our courses. But we don't have a thing where as soon as you've done the course with us, we've pushed you onto that. It's kind of up to you to do the legwork with the application. But plenty of people that have done our qualifications go on to teach EPIK. Good luck, Logan. I really wish I had done that when I was younger. I hope it works out for you. Damon, should I do an online job placement or go to the country I want to work in and find work? Right. They're very differences there. Depending on where you want to go in the world. So if you want to, I don't know where you are, Damon, but say you want to go to Asia, I would definitely apply for jobs online, go through the whole process of, the interviews, whatever they might need to do, the application, get in the visa, maybe doing the health check, whatever it might be. I would do all of that online. That's what I've always done wherever I've gone around the world. Now, the only time I would say to go into a country yourself and find work would be in Europe. Quite often in Spain and Italy, that's what a lot of countries want people to do. Yeah. So that's the only time that I would actually just fly there and try and find work when I was there. But if I was to go somewhere long haul, far away, I would definitely apply before I went out there. Yeah. And don't go until you've got the visa in your hand. Okay. Kate, hi. If you were to be successful getting a job, would TEFL offer accommodation, and would someone else be able to live there with you, or would you have to find your own accommodation in this case? Difference is around the world. Differences from jobs within a country. So I'm trying to think. Where have I been given accommodation? China, but not all places in China. They arrange my accommodation. Other countries and companies, they give me an allowance and I find my own accommodation. It really does depend job to job. Some companies like to set people up in their accommodation, give the teacher their accommodation. The teacher doesn't need to do anything at all to find it. Yeah. Other companies, other countries don't like that. They like to say, okay, here you go. There's an allowance. Go find your own accommodation, which can be difficult, can be easy. And teachers sometimes power up like that. Other teachers prefer to live on their own. Depends on you. And what's that? The final option is some companies don't give anything at all to do with accommodation. When I worked in Japan, the second time, yes, I went there without any sort of accommodation set up, and I found it all when I was out there myself. So it really does depend on you, Kate, and how you feel. What I would say is wherever you go in the world, you won't be the first person to be trying to find accommodation there. There will be people there to help you. And I would ask school, how easy is it to get accommodation before you go out there? Okay. Good luck. Ava. You recently completed your TEFL, but you can't move abroad to teach if the kids have left the nest. Oh, the kids, they're always in the way, aren't they? In the interim, you're looking at remote teaching, but are there short-term teaching opportunities? No. Well, I say no, but they're very, very rare, and quite often companies want people who have... I have done contracts where 2 to 3 weeks, because I've been teaching for 15 odd years, 20 years. I've got a master's in teaching, and a company knows that they can drop me somewhere and I can be on the ground running, knowing exactly what to do on day one. Other companies want, they're not going to really take people on for 2 to 3 weeks who are new, because it's going to take them a week to get going. By the end of the 3 weeks, they're sort of done. Right. You got 2 options. I would try and, if you move that 2 to 3 weeks to 8 weeks or 10 weeks, you'll be able to get that sort of term size, and you'll be able to find more work that way. Okay. The other option is to try and find your own students. Like I said to the poster earlier, I've done webinars on how to find your own students, because that way you can just sort of take them on for 2 to 3 weeks. But companies tend to not. Now there are companies in the summer that will do that in the UK, Australia, and America. but they will want you to work full time for them, sort of 40, 45-hour weeks for them for 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, but that's sort of rare and only sort of in the month of July, really. Yeah. Hope that answers the question, Eva, and I'm sorry if I did not answer it properly. Usman, is there an expiry date? No, it's a lifetime qualification. Well, ours is anyway here at TEFL. The only thing I would say to you is if you do your qualification and then you spend months, almost years before you do anything, that's going to look a little bit stranger on your CV. So I would be trying, if after 2 years I was coming back to TEFL, I would do a refresher course or do a practical weekend course like we offer here at TEFLorg, or I would just try and keep volunteering or something like that, just even if it's sort of once or 2 or 3 times a year, just to keep your eye in, Isma. Okay. Abhishek, hello. What are the options available for online teaching once we complete the course? Go work for a company who are trying. So you'll go on our website, go to the job center on our website, find jobs that are for teaching online. That will be a company with students somewhere in the world trying to match up their students with a teacher somewhere in the world. You go through the application process, you start teaching them online. Fantastic, woohoo, fantastic. I've done webinars about this. The other option is to try and find your own students, be self-employed, try and teach them. Could be quite a bit more difficult, but more rewarding financially. Can take some time. Again, I have done webinars about this. Good luck. Sasidi, hi. Interesting one. How long on average does it take to complete a job after completing the course? Right, good question. Depends on you. Depends on your luck. Depends where you want to go. If you're going to go abroad to say China, Japan, Vietnam, East Asia, somewhere like that, or South America, Central America, you're probably going to want to get the visa before you go. That can take 2-3 months. It can do. But I do know people that manage to get the visa within 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So that depends on the embassy you're going to, all that kind of thing. You're going to go to Europe. I know people that have got an EU passport. They've flown in on a Saturday to Barcelona and they're teaching on the Monday. Yeah. So it really does depend on you and where you're going to go. I would, if you're going to go far long haul and you're going to go for the visa process, I think at least a month. Okay. Good luck, Sasidi. Manu, you're back. You're from Brazil. You live in the UK for 16 years. Is TEFL any good if you want to teach people from my native country? Yeah, for sure. I've taught lots of Brazilians. You're qualified teaching assistant, but never worked as a teaching assistant. Will that also help me get more experience to get a TA job? Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure it would. Where are you now? You live in the UK. You could go and work. I don't know where you are in the UK, but you could maybe go work at a local language school as well with one of our qualifications. That's the other thing you could think about doing. Yeah, definitely would help you. And yeah, if you want to teach Brazilians, if you want to teach them online, you might have a better idea of how to get them to come and pay you, to come to your website and help you. Or if you want to go back to Brazil, I'm sure it will also help you find a job when you're there. Yeah. Lao or Law? Lao, I'm sorry if I've not said this right. What is the minimum of time that is taken in consideration for teaching training experience? Well, some people, you're not going to be a full-time trainer in your past job. If you've done weekend training, if you've done 2 or 3 days training, I think just whatever you've done, put it on there. I wouldn't worry about sort of thinking, it's got to be a week long, anything like that, Lau. If you've got any sort of training or teaching experience, put that on your CV. Yeah. Okay. Good luck. Let me find the next question. Kate, hi. Are all TEFL jobs the same pay? Or does it differ from country to country? Yeah, for sure. If you go work in Saudi Arabia, you might come back with a house deposit. If you go work in Mexico, you might come back with nothing at all. Which can be more fun? Which is going to be better for you? That's up to you. Okay. TEFL jobs do not pay. And within a country, different pay. You've got universities might pay more than language schools. High schools might pay more than language schools. Language schools might pay more than primary schools. Yeah. It definitely differs from country to country. It depends on your experience. Again, if someone with 15 years experience is doing a TEFL job, I would hope they would get paid more than someone newly qualified. I hope that answers your question, Kate. Logan, hi. Wow, interesting. You're 22 years old and you have experience teaching reading and writing to ex-convicts. Wow. With a TEFL certificate, would this be enough to find employment? Yeah, sure. Yeah, 22 is not old or young, it's a perfect age to start doing TEFL. I was 25. Yeah, and I would give an interview just to find out more about volunteer work, Logan, for sure. That would definitely help you, and that would be something great. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. Okay. I'm really sorry about all these questions that I'm not going to get to. I'm running out of time here. Zach, which one are you? Aside from the job boards, where do we find jobs to apply to? You're interested in teaching Latin America. Right, Latin America is difficult. Right, well, no, you've got two questions. Right, first of all, our website, TEFL.org. Second website I would go to is eslcafe.com. eslcafe.com. Next one I go to would be TEFL.com. Look through all of those, right? After that, I would literally just put into Google jobs in Guatemala, jobs in Brazil, wherever it is you want to go to. So that's the thing that I would start doing. I would also look on Facebook in TEFL Jobs Brazil. I'm sure there's a group, something like that. Right. Now, good luck with that. The thing that I would say to you is some Latin American countries don't take on people from outside their borders. You've got to already be in the country in order to work there. Some, not all. Mexico are pretty good. Colombia is pretty good. Venezuela used to be amazing for it. It's gone a bit wrong. Chile sometimes see jobs advertised. The rest of them, generally, they like to have people already in Brazil or Argentina or Peru, wherever it might be, knocking on the door saying, hello, can I have a TEFL job? And of course, there's risks with you doing that because you could fly all the way over there and not get a job, or you could fly all the way over there and get jobs. It's fantastic. Yeah. All of these things are doable, but it does depend. And the reason why Latin America is different is because it's a bit poorer. It can also be quite difficult to get work visas for some countries down there. Not impossible, but quite difficult. Okay, and they don't want to spend the companies don't want to spend a fortune on Zach to get this work visa in London, say, and then you don't go. That's why companies tend to do it from Latin America. But I know plenty of people that have taught over there and absolutely love it. Good luck, Zach. Rebecca, how much prep do I do for a lesson? And if a company says they provide lesson plans, do you have to stick to that? The rule when you start tends to be, now when you start, you're going to be doing loads of prep. Once you've been doing it for a while, you do less prep. The rules tend to be you prep for an hour to teach for an hour. So a 3-hour lesson should take 3 hours of prep. That tends to be the rules. Okay. Now, if a company says they provide lesson plans, woohoo, happy days, especially if you've newly started, do you have to stick to that? Well, it depends on the company. Some companies really want you to stick to the lesson plan so they know exactly where you finished at the end of every lesson. Okay? Some companies do it as a guide. This is something that you need to find out in an interview, and it depends on you. Some people absolutely love to do the lesson plans and stick to them. Other people like to go off and do their own thing. Yeah? So it really does depend on the company, and I would ask that at an interview, but be prepared to hide your face if they give you an answer you don't like. Yeah? Good luck, Rebecca. Megan, hi. Do I know the best time of the year to apply for TEFL jobs in Spain? Yeah, I know the worst time tends to be July or the summer. Yeah, because a lot of Italian and Spanish schools close. A lot of Italian and Spanish kids go abroad to study, or they used to. So that tends to be a bad time. So I would sort of be looking to, if you start in September, or to start in January, or to start in sort of April time after Easter. So really, if you've already got an EU passport, woohoo, you know, a couple of months before those is when I would start to apply. But I think there's no harm at all. If you want to go work in Madrid, to Google schools in Madrid and to say to them, hi, I want to come to Madrid. When do you want me to apply? Or do you want me to come now? I think there's absolutely no problem with that at all, Megan. Okay, good luck. You don't see a lot of jobs advertised in Italy and Spain. You've got to do a bit of legwork yourself. Simon, after TEFL, what else do you think we can do to keep preparing ourselves? After you've done the TEFL course, well, I think, you know, volunteer is the first thing I would say. So say if you don't want to go abroad for 6 months, and you've done your TEFL qualification, maybe you could do extra modules. That's the first thing I would say. So you can do your base 120 hour certificate, but then you can also do add-on modules in terms of teaching kids, in terms of teaching exams, in terms of teaching online. We offer all of those. I'm sure Alan will put in the links there for the extra modules. You could start doing that. That will really make you stand out in the job aspect. The other thing to do would be to volunteer locally, see if you can get some work teaching local refugees, for example. Really worthwhile stuff to be doing. Good luck. Trinity with a big Y. Hello, dearest Carl. Could you please tell us if there are age restrictions in relation to teaching TEFL teacher? For example, start teaching at the age of 45. No. Trinity, go back and watch the webinar I did this time last week where I talked for an hour about this. Quick answer, there are upper age limits to getting a visa. They're a lot higher than 45 though. And each country's different. But go back and watch the webinar from last week. Okay? Good luck. Katie Davies, hello. You're looking to teach online from the UK. You did teach many years ago in Taiwan. You just about the 120 hour course to brush up. Is there a market? I've got a degree in literature and a diploma, and I've been writing for 11 years. I was an actor in my youth. Youth, kids, that's how the crazy young people spell youth. So hopefully okay at communications, especially if you want to type in text speak. Right. Yes, if you want to teach online, yes. Right. Now, I'm not so sure how much being no, that's not true, Carl. I'm trying to work out how... So being a writer will help you to write your own lessons, first of all. Definitely, for sure. That will put you at an advantage for doing lesson planning. Now, you don't tend to teach much English literature when you're abroad. Mainly because if I was to drop a bit of Shakespeare in front of a group of 9-year-olds in Italy, they wouldn't really care about it, for example. But I definitely have done in the past reading clubs and reading skills, and that kind of thing would help with that for sure. Yeah. Now, online, yes, I think there's definitely, you could either go work for yourself or you can go and work for a company, and I'm pretty sure companies would love to take you on with that experience. Good luck. I think it would be fine, Katie. Okay. Nelly, hi. Straight to the point, Nelly. No mucking around. Does this certificate hold weight in France? I ask you. Yes, I know people that have done a TEFL qualification and gone to work in France. France is slightly different from the rest of Europe in terms of they don't tend to publicise so much that they want English teachers, because we don't need to learn English because French is the best. So you don't see many jobs advertised for France for people to come over and that kind of thing. But if you go to Paris and there's lots of language schools, you'll be able to get work for sure. Yeah, for sure, Nanny. Okay. But a lot of schools in France also want you to be able to speak French. I don't know why, but they do. Good luck. Kate, how fast would you be expected to start a job after you are told you have it? Good question. So some jobs will say, for example, some schools will be so well organised they will advertise in February to go work in September. If that's the sort of thing that you... Fine. This is a perfectly good question to ask at the interview, Kate. you know. But generally, I'd say they're sort of expecting you to go work sort of, if you're going to go fly abroad, that kind of thing, 2 months later. Yeah, for sure. If you're asking about when to hand in your notice, I would ask subtly about the start date for the jobs in the interview. Okay. Andrea, hi. I'm coming to the end of these questions soon. What does the job market look like for teaching online? It's still pretty good. It's not as good as it was when COVID started, for sure. Because then there was hardly any face-to-face jobs. Now there are face-to-face jobs, and there were still people that were working online that have now gone back to working face-to-face. However, there is online work out there. I've done webinars about teaching online. Go and watch those. The key thing is to be patient, Andrea. Okay, that's the key thing. All right. Now let me see. Good luck, Andrea. Sorry, that was very rude of me. Right, I think that's the last question, is it? Yes, I think it is. Look, I'm really, really sorry if I didn't get to your question. Okay. Now, if you do have a burning EFL question that you need answered, the best thing to do is to go on our Facebook page or go on our website, TEFL.org, and contact us. Okay? Send us a message, or in the bottom right corner, we've got a chat with us function on the website. Send us a message. We will very happily answer it for you. Okay? I will try my best this weekend, but it depends. See if I can go back through those questions and answer some of them through a type. Yeah, if I can. I apologize if I don't get round to yours though. Okay. We do this webinar every week. Yeah. Also, that's another thing we do. We do a Facebook group. We do have a Facebook group. So you might be watching this on the Facebook page, but we have a Facebook group where there are lots of other teachers that can answer, and I also monitor that, and I can get in there and answer it. Okay. Definitely worthwhile joining that if you can. Again, I'm sorry if I didn't get around to your question. I really hope you have found this webinar useful. If you are looking to go into TEFL as a career change, go for it, but take it slowly is my advice. Yeah. If you're ready to just go for it 100%. But if you're not quite sure, take your time, ease yourself into it, do some research. But TEFL is a great job. It can also be a great career, and it can also be a lot of fun. Okay. Thank you very much. Please like this video and tell me in the chat if you liked it or you hated it. All that kind of thing. We like it. I'm very vain. I like to read comments about me. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.